Hello, this is Father Rich. I am in the back stairwell of the rectory. I believe I was in the front stairwell of the rectory somewhere at the beginning of our masterpieces. Can't remember what we were doing there, but kind of a reference to Stairway to Heaven. But this masterpiece is a song about moving up. It is called I Will Move On Up. I Will Move On Up a Little Higher. It's a song by Mahalia Jackson. Again, a song I wasn't aware of, and I wasn't aware of her involvement in support of the civil rights movement, particularly. But it was created in 1947. She was a gospel singer, and very often, because of the quality of her voice and really the popularity, she was encouraged to consider doing jazz and blues to take her career to a whole nother level. But she refused. She wanted to stick in gospel. She felt like she was called to use her voice to give God glory and to direct people to Him. So she was steadfast in doing that. But this song that she sang talks to us about this reality of this call that we have to move on up higher and ultimately to move up to the greatest heights, which is in heaven with God forever. Fascinating part of her story, which I never heard of, was that she was at the civil rights movement with Martin Luther King. She was asked to do a song before and after he spoke. And it wasn't this song. The reason they picked this song, I think, because it was kind of her first song that gave her notoriety. The civil rights, or the civil rights march was in '63. This is in '47. So this was kind of the song that kind of brought her into popularity and to be known. But so she sings the first song before he speaks. Then he starts his prepared remarks. And the story goes that she started, kind of yelled out, "Martin, did you have a dream?" Because she knew about, his experience or his image of the dream and how he would speak about that passionately. And apparently that kind of motivated him to discard the notes and go into a great, really, sermon about this dream that he had, that is that iconic moment that we all think of when we think of the civil rights movement and the civil rights march there on the Washington Mall in front of the Lincoln Memorial there in the center of our Capitol. So she was very involved with that. She ended up singing a song after that. That his death in 1968 took a toll on her. It was a very sad moment for her, and she would eventually die at the age of 60 in 1972 because of the toil of her schedule, but also her weight. She had a weight problem and never really addressed that, and that kind of caught up to her. But she dealt with a lot of prejudice. They talk about how she had to deal with a lot of racism, and because of that, she had a TV show at one point, but it didn't succeed. Even though a lot of people enjoyed it, it wasn't sustained because of the racial reaction, and they took it off the air. But she was on some of those prominent variety shows, that Sullivan Show back in the day. And that's how she got more and more kind of national notoriety, gave national concerts, was very well sought after. And eventually she did make it to become a recording artist, even though that took a lot of time. For her first 7 years of her career, when she was trying to get music recorded, she never got accepted because of people's concerns with her and the gospel, her clinging to the gospel music and not getting into those other music types that would have possibly allowed her to become popular sooner. She was born in New Orleans in 1911, so that's kind of where she grew up and was rooted in. She was raised in the Baptist church, but she lived next to a Pentecostal church. So they kind of say how her musical influence could have been that Pentecostal church, which was more expressive and vibrant, which ended up being her type of music and how she sang, whereas the Baptist church she grew up in was more reserved. But she eventually, in moving to, Chicago, she joined the Greater Salem Baptist Church That very first Sunday, they heard her singing, asked her to join the choir. She began to sing for the congregation. The famous songwriter Thomas Dorsey and had visited the church, heard her sing, knew he had found what he was looking for, the perfect person to demonstrate his songs as he traveled around the country. So she, Mahalia, soon joined him as they traveled around the United States, singing and pitching his songs. And this began her slow climb to becoming the Queen of Gospel, which would be kind of that title that she would be given eventually. So again, kind of that genre that became more well-known and popular, she started it all. So again, eventually her song that she recorded, the one that's a masterpiece, I Will Move On Up a Little Higher, it was made into a record, and then it was discovered and played regularly by Chicago DJ Studs Terkel, who actively promoted the song. It sold 50,000 copies in 4 weeks, and then Apollo Records could not keep up with the orders. So eventually, even white audiences discovered her sound and loved it. And then this is what kind of took her to the next level. She performed at Carnegie Hall, toured the United States as well as Europe, appeared on the Dinah Shore show as well as Ed Sullivan, and then again had that short-lived show of her own, which was not sustained because of the racist reactions. But she had to deal with that prejudice. She was kind of a pioneer, and that's in a way that I didn't realize, of the civil rights movement. And again, her support of Martin Luther King particularly. Yes, we're grateful for her masterpiece, for what she's done. Encourage you to check it out online. You can listen to the song and see how she can move you, to inspire you to move up a little higher in God's grace. So that's our masterpiece number 56. Next time we'll have number 57. We get into some stories that many of us might be familiar with from growing up. The next one is Chronicles of Narnia by C.S. Lewis, that were written between 1950 and 1956. Hope you'll join us. Thank you for being here today. Have a great day and God bless.